myself if I were not a realist in to the point, right? And we're halfway through the year, and I really have kind of found myself being very just like, wow, you know, and very, very, very uninspired. And I was on social media just like scrolling through, which is another time eater, right? And I do try like to like delete the app off my phone or only have it on my tablet or, just to break up my consumption rate. And I stumbled across a video from Auntie Tabitha Brown, and she was just like, "Hey girl, like, you're not happy." And I was like, why is she telling the truth? Um, and it's because I know that I'm not rising to my full potential. And that takes a lot of introspection and self reflection and self awareness, which a lot of people lack. And this is not me measuring myself based off on someone else's accomplishments because that's never the case. Like, everyone's circumstances are very different, but what we all have is the same 24 hours. So that in and of itself, I'm over here like, yeah, it is what it is. But um then, so this is how I know Holy Spirit is speaking to me, because when I'm getting a message and they're all very like aligned, that's where I'm like, okay, like I see where this is, because I kind of like was feeling bad that on my days off of late, especially these past couple of days, I have just been like out of it. Like, energy is gone, lady time is ladying, and she is backhanding me. And so I've just kind of been finding it, difficult using like energy reserves and everything like that to be like, okay, I can do this and I can do this, and on the priorities of things that, what they mean to me. And it had me thinking about an audio banger review, which I haven't done an audio banger review in a long time. I do have one in the works that I want to bring to you guys, and it does kind of fall into this category, right? We're halfway through the year, and I want to finish this year strong. And so I really want to compile a couple of things, go over my blueprint of what that is going to look like for myself, and really hope that it inspires us to know that, hey, you might feel like, where did these past 6 months go? Like, what did I do? What did I accomplish? Where do I stand with myself? And though these are all questions that you need to be asking yourself in order to level up. If we don't know where we're at, we're never going to get to where we're trying to go. I can say all day long that I want to be a billionaire till I'm blue in the face. But if my daily habits aren't indicative of behavior of someone who's got it, then I'm not going to get it, right? So that's something of what today's episode is all about. So, if you have listened to um, my audio banger series, I have done one on atomic habits, and I really, really like this book. Some of the things that we do with information, once we get it, we kind of get it, we hold on to it for a while, and then we immediately brain dump and replace it with something else. So luckily for myself, I don't brain dump. I more or less put it in the library and, put the book away and file it away. So it's in there, it's just filed away. And when I was sitting here thinking about the things that I need to do for this year, not only this year, like things that I need to do for the next 2 months, really shined a light and, you know, came full circle. So on top of Tabitha, Auntie Tab grabbing me, gathering me up and saying, girl, you're not happy and you're in full control of what you need to do to be happy. And in order for you to get that, you have to seek your happiness. And just other things saying like, maybe it's the environment, maybe it's where you're at, maybe the place that you live is the reason why you're not happy. And I'm also looking into those options. Um, but at the end of the day, a lot of those things aren't as trivial as that, right? Some of it is very like very simple of okay, where are you? Where are you at? Where do you want to go? And these are the things that I have to ask myself. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. I have to hold myself accountable. And what better way to hold myself accountable than to hold my listeners accountable? Or to bring my listeners in on it, and be like, okay, you have these goals that you want to accomplish, you have these things that you want to do. What are you doing every day to achieve that? Because in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear has this quote that says that people don't rise to the level of their systems, they rise to the level of their habits. And um, it really got me thinking about that yesterday, in fact. Um, not feeling good at all. And I'm on a fitness journey of, you know, really giving it my all, being more consistent, doing more than I've done in previous years, going back and forth with this. And so I was like, okay, I'm exhausted. I feel like cooking nothing. My kids know how to cook, but they also are like, trying to see what they get. So it was like, okay, like let's order pizza. So that's a habit, right? I don't feel like cooking. Um, so what am I going to do? I'm going to order a pizza. Okay. And so then I proceed to be like, okay, we need this, and this. But one of my things that I'm really, holding myself accountable with is the budgeting and making sure that things make sense. So making sure my money is allocated in a way that's beneficial. It's not to say that we can't have pizza or eat out or any of the things, but it just has to make sense. So I'm jumping from this piece of place to this piece of place to that piece of place, and like it's coming up, and I'm like, "Ugh," like that's as much money that like I could use that for groceries. Like I'm really just trying to buy something like a convenient meal. I'm not trying to like spend money. I'm just trying to make sure I feed my kids. I get something in my system because I hadn't really eaten that day, and not go for my habit, which my habit is okay, yeah, we need this, the cookies, the drink, a couple order of wings, and like $80 later. And it's like, okay, girl, $80, that's like a reasonable amount of groceries. Like, what are you doing? Like, chill. Like, this is supposed to be a convenient meal for three, not, you know, an excess an excess in spending. That is something that I never had a conversation with myself in that way. I never was just like, hey, da-da-da. I'm like, Miss, throw it in the bag. Like, oh girl, you want it? Anything for you, princess. Versus thinking about things in the long run. Um, and so that's a conversation that I wanted to bring today. You know, it's good information, but information is lost if there's no execution behind it. So I know the ways to form good habits, putting myself in the mindset of, okay, if I'm an athlete, like how would this athlete train? And then that would help me make good habits, even to a point where um, it's so funny because I was thinking about this the other day and I was out and about, and I was asked, like, hey, is there anything else that you want from here? Is there anything else that you need? And I was like, no. And then I was like, yes, but no, I gotta be good. And it's so funny because I think it might come across to people as if like, oh, well, I don't wanna, have you spend all this money on me or buy me this or anything like that. And it's really not that. It's like me saying, okay, would an athlete do this? Like you already ate a no a non inhibited meal where you ordered exactly what you want. You smashed all of it, girl. Um, are you gonna continue on with like more stuff? No. No. So that's another thing. We have to take a look, a true, like a real hard look at ourselves and catch the things that we do that reaps us the same results that we say that we don't want. And this goes for every aspect in life. I find myself even now, like, certain interactions could be habitual. And I have to sit back and just sometimes just say, no. It may not be confident, no, or reassured, no, whatever the case may be, but I know that it's the right answer. Um, Sometimes we just become inundated with choice, inundated with choice and conflicted. Um, and for myself, if I get like the faintest hint of confliction or, or or conflict in my thought process or my choice or anything like that, I don't want to make a choice. I don't want to say one thing over the next because I'm conflicted, meaning I don't have peace in either answer that I could give. When I find peace in my choice, I can give that response, I can give that choice. And those are one of the things that I challenge myself on a regular basis to do, right? I don't like to engage in conversations that I don't feel comfortable with having. Um, People call it stonewalling or whatever, but I like disengage. I'm just like, if I feel like this is going to pull me out of my character, like I really just don't want to have this conversation because we're just going to keep talking in circles, right? Um, but as far as the habits that we want to change, um, we have the pillars, right? So our faith, our family, our fitness, our finance, and our future. And I feel like I've been hitting a couple areas pretty good, other areas not so much, and some areas like not at all. And that's pretty bad because that means that my coliseum is on the rocks, baby. She about to fall over. But that's the great thing about books like The Atomic Habits in conjunction with the 12-week year. It's just keeping yourself, people like to say accountable, but I would bear in mind to say aware. It's making you aware of where you're at and giving you the cold hard facts, and then you determine if that's the place that you're comfortable being at. If that's not the place that you're comfortable being at, you have 1,000% control of moving yourself from that place. And so that's where I'm at. Those are the 5 pillars. Those are the 5 areas that I really need to work on. And honestly, when the main one, when my faith is strengthened, when my I have conversations with God, I have conversations with Holy Spirit all day long, but when like I'm in relationship, like in heavy relationship, like courting and making the time and like intentional time, like doing the things that amplify the peace within myself, the answers become a lot clearer. There are no conflicting choices. And so that is going to be my main focus. So with that being said, transition to Bible study, which kind of prompted this whole episode, really, a combination of these things that I mentioned. And it was the Bible study, the Bible study was titled, like, What's in Your Hand, right? And this is something that I go back and forth with, especially after the Thanos of skill sets that I've acquired in such a short time, like literally in 4 years, less than less than that. I'm like, God, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because I feel delayed. Like I feel like I can't get past this, a certain point. It's very frustrating. I know you didn't have me dedicate this time for no reason. I'm really just trying to see where like all these things add up and like what do they mean and everything like that. But in the Bible study, the pastor was talking about how he was in the military and he did all these certain things and he spent all that time, doing them. And he kind of was like, well, are these things going to be a benefit to me outside of this? And he was like, I still use a lot of those same skills today. And there's a lot of things that I've learned from, you know, my career in cosmetology, um, and leadership and things like that, that I still do today, that are still very much a part of my personality today. But these things that he deposits in us are viable, right? They can help us with that next. But I just challenge us to kind of tap in and really make the time to strengthen our faith. Um, and that falls in line with like the habits that we make. So, okay, for me, the habit is I gotta set alarms. Um, I set an alarm at for a specific time that will wake me up, and I'm having a conversation with God. Before I go to sleep, I'm trying to read a chapter of the Word. And now I really want to start, I got a little something that I'm thinking about doing or whatever that will require me to, in order to do it in a way that is in decency and in order, in a proper way, and making sure that I take a back seat and God is at the forefront of this. That's going to take time with me and him. And so that's where I'm at. That's where my mid year where I'm at. There's things that I really want to do, really want to amp up. Things that have been brought to my attention that I really need to do. 1,000% true, 1,000% accurate. So I just have to do those things. Um, but forming those habits, being able to make the most of my time, um, do the things that I love while adding a little bit of, you know, sunshine, I guess, uh, to the earth. I don't know. But this has been another episode of the From Her View podcast. Like I say, we have survived 1,000% of the things that were sent to break us. And when I think about that, it makes moments like these, even though the feeling is very real, it makes them seem kind of like insignificant in a way, right? I've been through so much, we've been through so much, and this is another thing that we're going to go through and that we'll be able to come out the other side and encourage someone else. So, we have our marching orders, right? We really need to take stock of our habits because those habits are what's holding us. They're either holding us up or they're holding us back. And so I'm praying that we get it together. But I'm gonna come back with another episode on what is the exact game plan that I have going for myself and how I process and formulate these things. And hopefully that'll be helpful for you. Until next time, this has been another episode of the From Review podcast. Bye.